Coming up today on Pawsitive Entertainment, everything you could want to know about your four-legged friends. Our journey begins.
The SPCA of Texas presents Pawsitive Entertainment with Jocelyn White and her pug, Walter Cronkite. Brought to you in part by Luke Crossland and the Crossland Group, and Arthur Benjamin and American Dog Rescue.
Hello everybody, I'm Jocelyn White, along with my co-host here, Walter Cronkite, Pug of Texas. And we're excited because it has long been a dream of mine to create a show all about our four-legged furry friends, the ones I like to call fur babies, our pets. And yes, we'll throw in a few fins and feathers, frogs and turtles too. But what we really want to do is embrace the world of those other animals that really are parts of our family. And today's show will give you a taste of things to come. Right, Cronkite? We'll take on serious subjects like doggy dentistry, rescue and investigation, as well as a spotlight on other shelters and groups doing good work. On the softer side, you'll meet some fun pets and their people, as well as animals that can or do work like a dog. And you've heard of potpourri? Well, our Petpourri with Maura Davies is a catch-all of everything for our pets, from luxuries to necessities. But first, we turn to today's hot topic and we bring in my other two-legged co-host, James Bias, the president of the SPCA of Texas. And James, we've planned on this show for a year now and we're finally here.
Or 7 dog years. I think you've been working on this. So.
Yeah, that's about the truth. Okay, today's topic is one that a lot of people debate, and it's become very popular in cultural circles now to talk about how smart our animals are, or animal intelligence. Any thoughts? Cover your ears, Cronkite.
Well, all I know is when you start talking about dogs and cats, you're going to have controversy between dog owners and cat owners. But I think that we do know there are breed types that research has shown they have a tendency to be a little more intelligent in one area over another area based on physical size. We do know that proportion of the brain to the rest of the body can play a part in deciding that intelligence, and also just their cognitive ability, how they can remember things, and some animals with self-awareness. There are a few groups out there that have come up with their top list of what they think are the most intelligent dogs.
And who would they be?
Well, cover your ears. I don't see Pug in here, but
he's a puggle. He's a pug and beagle mix.
In that top list, it's not surprising to find that a number of the herding breed types, so Border Collie, German Shepherd, Poodle, Doberman, Shetland Sheepdog, Labrador Retriever, Papillon, Bloodhound, Rottweiler, and then Australian Cattle Dog. And so
my guys don't make the cut.
Well, you know, they fall into the cute area as well.
And they do, and that's important too. But not only animal intelligence, animal emotions, because that's a big part of it too. And I promise you, my little guy is very emotional.
Well, and you know, dogs and cats can be emotional, but you know, when you talk about intelligence, a lot of your Oriental breed type cats also fall in that higher category of more intelligent of the cat group. But you know, we get to experience at the SPCA of Texas animals that come in that are broken. You know, their hearts are broken. They've been treated improperly, abused.
Their owners have left them.
And we get to watch them transform into, you know, animals that love being around people, and they show that love through the wagging of the tail, the sparkle in their eye. And so, you know, there may not be as much science as there is heart to recognizing that intelligence and emotion in our four-legged friends.
But I have to say, Cronkite is incredibly smart, aren't you? And very emotional. I will say that he is the one who stands by the door for 24 hours when I leave, and when I come home, he fusses at me for 15 minutes before he'll let me hug him. I promise you, there's some smarts there somewhere. Thanks for being with us, James.
Thank you.
In all seriousness, folks, I really did rescue Cronkite from the SPCA, who in turn saved him from a high kills shelter where basically his owner dropped him off and said she had too many dogs and too many kids. Well, her loss, my gain. But there are millions of those stories. On a lighter side, One of the things we love is when people talk about their pets, but usually they're referred to as people and their pets. Well, I think the pets are the stars, and it should be pets and their people. And in this case, there's a whole gaggle of critters on the Hansen place. I'm talking about Dale and Chris Hansen, and they can do a roll call.
This started 30-some years ago. She had a dog, a Cocker Spaniel named Nugget. And then I've always been in love with Basset Hounds. So I got my first Basset Hound, Humphrey, who's immortalized in stone over by the fireplace. And since that time, it's gone to 4 full-grown horses.
Graham, Fireman, Swayze, and then the new one's name's Avery. Champion. Give me a kiss. Good boy. 3 minis are Peaches, Dandy, and Snippers.
I have always said that this is the house that the Hansens built, the heaven that the Hansens built. Well, these are the animals that live in the house, that live in the heaven the Hansens built.
Yes.
I'm the one that brought in the Longhorns. We've had a couple of them over the years, but the 2 Longhorns we have now, the greatest name ever is Huey P. Longhorn, and then Jerry Lee, the killer, and then he's not. She's got 3 chickens running around the barn.
Lucy, Ethel, and Mary. Rhoda disappeared,
Yeah,
so we have Lucy, Ethel, and Mary now.
We named chickens.
And I never thought I'd have chickens for a pet. I said, they're not going to be pets, they're just going to give me eggs, but they're now pets.
Yeah,
so.
and we have a miniature burro, another great name of mine, by the way, Edward R. Burrow. And then the dogs, of course, that have the complete run of the house. Oh, and we forgot Kramer the parrot.
Kramer the parrot, yes. Oh. Kramer back there.
I think we have a mutual love for the animals, but they do give us that companionship. There's just something about Haley being on my lap. I'm just stroking her back or usually her belly while I'm watching TV. It's just the most relaxing thing ever.
Dale and Chris Hansen not only know the names of their Baker's Dozen Times 2, they also know their personalities, their preferences, and how important they are to them, and vice versa.
I can't imagine not having an animal in the house. I just can't. I mean, they follow me around. I talk to them. They're love, comfort. I mean, when you're down, they make you feel better. Companionship. I love them to death. The other times when I get frustrated, but I love them to death. I can't imagine not having an animal in the house. Dog, cat, whatever. Starting
with my first Basset Hound, Humphrey, and I said this one time. This was like my little man friend. Who didn't care that I had a bad day at work. He didn't care what I shot on the golf course. Right. He didn't care what I lost at the poker table.
That's when I care. But.
Yeah. And but at the same time, if I was in a good mood, he was in a good mood. If I was in a bad mood, he was in a good mood. And I could always just come home, and he would do the same thing that basically Haley does now. Jump on my lap, sit with me in the chair. And unfortunately, I don't mind admitting this, I talk to my dogs about as much as I talk to her.
With all of these pets, is there maybe room for more?
All future animals looking for a home, this ain't it. We've done our thing for animals, and we're slow, except for the Basset Hounds.
Pets and Their People, brought to you by Jack Knox and Cafe Pacific. The chocolate pecan ball is doggone delicious. Coming up next, a true star at some local hospitals, and also ahead, dogs and dentistry. It's a vet check you must see.
As a small business owner, I found that handling my marketing needs on my own was very difficult. AmPlus not only designed a website that was truly reflective of my business, but they also marketed in a way that grew my business extremely fast. Web design, pay-per-click campaign, search engine optimization, design and print, e-commerce. They're great, they're very easy to work with, and they take your ideas and turn it into something more than you even thought it could be.
As Pawsitive entertainment continues, did you know that animals like to have a job? My Walter Cronkite here is our guard dog. He patrols the premises inside and out, and believe me, he lets us know if there is someone or something somewhere it should not be. And that's the case with most animals, as you will see as we meet Star, who really does work like a dog.
All right, you sit please. Okay. Are you poodle? No, you are not a poodle. Star is a Bichon Frise. She's a California girl. She is 10 years old. She's been a therapy dog for 8 years.
Sue Geller and Star didn't start out to be therapy's dynamic duo. Sue's background in showbiz led her to take Star through the show ring. And after championships were done and won, now what?
I wanted something that I could do with her. So they said, no, this is hospital visits or nursing home visits. And so it was, okay, you're a therapy dog, which was, I hadn't really thought that through because I didn't know what that meant. Okay, let's go down to this room. All right, let's go down here.
What it meant was bringing Star's tricks and cheer and charm to patients.
Hi, how are you? And you like dogs, huh? Well, I got a nice one here. This is Star. Oh, you can go give a high five over there first? Okay, you can do that. We're gonna show them how smart you are. Which hand? This one? All right, watch again. You ready? Which hand? Oh, you're so smart. You're so smart. Yeah.
Star also has the amazing ability to make things feel better.
We know who the dog people are. Want to put your head down? Head down? Yeah.
And then there's hope after a nearly fatal accident.
Tissue? Thanks.
A couple weeks ago, Hope was in an accident, like she said, and she suffered some traumatic brain injury. She's been recovering very well. But what was interesting was today, she was really scared coming in, worried that she wouldn't be able to remember how to read or tell time again, because we kind of started from scratch a couple weeks ago. But the first thing she did when she got out of surgery, you're so cute, this time was she started reading and immediately recognized that she could tell time, so that was really comforting. But I think the best that she's felt so far is here with this puppy.
How many visits would you guesstimate Star has made?
Oh, Star's gotten her pin for 500 hours. She's done, we go every other week here at Baylor, and we visit McKinney Med Center in McKinney. And then sometimes if somebody from another, scheduled for another day is unable to go, we'll go and fill in. So Star's been doing this for a long time.
That Star, she serves up smiles. Now, many of you may know that I grew up on a farm in southeast Arkansas, and my dad handled all of our vet duties with our many horses and dogs and you name it. He birthed the babies, he gave the shots. About the only thing he didn't do was look in the animals' mouths, except when he was going to do a little bit of horse trading. But Dr. Troy Cobb at the VCA Animal Expressway Hospital taught me it is important to look at your critter's teeth. It's vet check.
The reason we do dental scaling and cleaning is not just cosmetic. Your mouth is the gateway to the rest of your body. So everything that's happening in the mouth is hitting the lungs, it's hitting the kidneys, it's hitting the heart, it's hitting the liver. So this is Chris, and Chris is going to be helping me, and we're going to do charting and do some scaling and cleaning. Before we started, we placed an IV catheter to provide fluids to support his heart and kidneys. He's also hooked up to blood pressure monitoring, oxygen monitoring. He's got an EKG going to make sure that we're providing some safe anesthesia. He's also got a trach tube in here to protect his airway, because if we get any saliva or plaque in his lungs, it can be a problem. So also provide oxygen anesthetic gas so we can maintain this safely. Dogs tend to actually have gum disease more than tooth disease. So most of their issues arise from gum disease.
It is mobility 1.
Okay.
Gingivitis 1.
Okay.
Probably 1.
All right. So what he just told me there is mobility means that there's a little looseness to the teeth. This dog has had a little chronic issue with that. It has not progressed, and his teeth have been x-rayed to make sure that the gums are still healthy in the ligament. Go ahead.
There's a 3, mobility 1, and probed up 1. That's about it.
Very good. So again, he's still probing around the tooth, all the way around it, try to see if there's any pockets there that we need to address. If they're greater than 3 millimeters, then we need to do some treatment. So what we saw there was some bleeding on the gums, was just indication of some gingivitis, some gum infection that's starting, despite the fact that we brush his teeth every day. This is an ultrasonic scaler. In humans, it's called a cavitron. So this ultrasonic scaler is going to reach in, it's going to scrape off the plaque and the tartar, and he just gently comes over across the tooth. We don't stay in one place very long, because if you do, you can cause damage, so we just gently scale the tooth. Pepe, as a Chihuahua, will probably be back here in 6 to 8 months. Dogs as young as 6 months of age can start to have oral and dental disease. So there are dogs that between 6 to 8 months of age might need a professional dental scaling. Most families start the professional dental scaling between 1 to 2 years of age. And of course the veterinarian's there to help guide them in those choices. So when we're done with Pepe, he'll go to recovery. We'll monitor him in the hospital for several hours, make sure he's had a good recovery. He'll go home this evening. He'll be allowed to eat this evening, about half his normal volume of food, and then by tomorrow he should be totally back to normal.
In next week's Vet Check, a chiropractor for those of the equine persuasion. Still ahead, we'll talk about Mission Pawsible, and later the man behind the horses that help close missing person cases. All of that when Pawsitive Entertainment returns.
One horse, one rider changes everything.
Welcome back to the second half of Pawsitive Entertainment. I'm your host, Jocelyn White, along with my co-host here, Walter Cronkite, Pug of Texas, affectionately known as Cronkite. And our motto for the show is Think Pawsitive. That's something the folks at the SPCA of Texas do every day, especially the rescue and investigation team. That's because they have quite a job to do. Headed by Art Munoz, he and his team really do have a mission that is Pawsible.
My name is Art Munoz. I'm the supervisor over the Rescue and Investigations Department. Once I turned 21, I joined the police academy. I was in class. The SPCA actually called up there and recruiting investigators. I thought, that sounds pretty cool. I like animals. Applied and got the job, and I've been doing it ever since. The Rescue and Investigation Department is 6 investigators, 2 instructors, 1 case manager, and a supervisor. R&I covers 8 different counties. Anytime we receive a complaint of animal cruelty, it's dispatched to one of our investigators that cover one of those counties. If I start a case from the beginning to the end, it starts with removing the dog or any of the animals with a seizure warrant. Once we do that, we go through a civil hearing. Once the civil hearing is completed, if there's enough to file charges, I'll go ahead and type up an arrest warrant, get them arrested and booked in, and then file the case for a criminal hearing. I like to follow our core values, and one of them is commitment to our animals. I think with that, each investigator that actually works a case, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that that animal is getting what it needs. I think the most important service that our department provides to the community is getting those animals that don't have shelter, don't have food, don't have water, and getting it on a daily basis. We'll never stop animal cruelty, but I think what we have here at the SPCA, we are making a difference, and I think moving forward, our department's growing and we're actually really making a difference in each county we cover as far as animal cruelty goes.
We look forward to our series as it continues. We also look forward to each week's Spotlight. That's when we focus on the wonderful work, important work being done by other shelters and rescue groups all around the USA. Today, we saddle up and head to Houston and meet the founder of Equusearch. Tim Miller founded Equusearch because of those 17 terrible, anxious months of waiting for word of his missing daughter, Laura. Waiting for any word.
I really think I remember taking a sigh of relief. At least I knew. And I know this, there's one thing worse than having a murdered child. That is the 17 months that I went through on the not knowing, which I knew in my heart.
To help cope with his grieving process, Tim would go aid law enforcement searches for other missing persons. And a decade later, someone asked the fateful question.
They actually said, "What are you going to do with your horses?" And I said, "Well, I love to take them on trail rides and hang out with them." They said, "Well, why don't you flirt with the idea of starting a mounted search and recovery team?"
So in August 2000, that's what he did. Tim Miller founded Equusearch, and now with 1,200 volunteers in 35 states and 8 countries, Equusearch is making a difference.
As of last week, we recovered our 182nd victim that was deceased and brought closure to the family, and I'll guarantee you 60 of them at least would have never been found.
So why are horses so important?
We can get in places with the horses that the ground searchers can. Of course, the ground searchers get tired a whole lot quicker than the horses. We're sitting up higher on the horses so we can see more things. And again, the horses have that sense of smell, that they smell things before we do, and that was real education for me the first time I found a body on a horse.
With its growth, Equusearch is not just horses anymore.
We use them when it's practical to use them. It's like all of our resources. You know, we do a lot of stuff in the water with side-scan sonar equipment, and we've had a tremendous amount of success. With our drone airplanes, we've had 11 recoveries with them, but we don't use them on every search. You know, we see what resources we need, and that's the resources that we bring in. So I guess you can say we started out as hillbillies on horses, and you know, now we still have our horses and our four-wheelers and our ground searchers and our drone, and you know, we have a lot more resources besides just horses. But you know what? If it wouldn't be for the horses, there wouldn't be an Equusearch, and we wouldn't be here today.
So what drives Tim to keep up this physically exhausting and spiritually draining task?
I remember a family that I met several years ago just before starting Equusearch, and their 13-year-old daughter was missing, and they called me and said, "Mr. Miller, how did you get through Laura's disappearance? Is there any way you can help us?" And I went to their house, and I seen that look of helplessness and hopelessness and fear. And I said, my God, that's how I had to look for 17 months. And I don't know what happened, but I made a promise to God and Laura at that moment. I would never leave a family alone if there's anything I could do. With 1 second, please.
A guy from Pennsylvania, Joe Orsino, holds the Guinness World Record for most dogs walked by one person at the same time, 35. Cronkite and I realized we had to have something at the end of the show that would be a vehicle for us to talk about anything and everything in the animal world. So Maura Davies decided to call her segment Pet Paris, and it's all about cats and their toys today.
Hi, Boss. Oh my goodness, are you ready to play? I am here with Boss, he's in charge right now. Boss is here to demonstrate this really cool toy right here. This is one toy that I think is really neat for cats. Of course, a big part of a cat's day is sleeping, but the other big part of a cat's day is playing. So nothing better than coming home after a long day and being able to hang out with your kitty. There's some things that can keep your kitty happy while you're gone. This is one of them. So you can just put it up, you can stick it to the wall, you can stick it to the cabinet, and I think Boss likes it. There's so many other products out there that are fun too. Everything that is a dangly item, cats are gonna go nuts for. There are feathers, there are mice. This one I love because it has a fishing pole. So let's see, what do you think, Boss? You gonna get it? You sweet guy. Oh my goodness, he's the coolest. All right, come on down here, Boss. You wanna come see? Anyway, it's a little like fishing and a lot like fun. So that's another one that you can do. One of my favorites, though, is this. This is a glove that has attachment clips for anything you can imagine. Feathers and bows and mice and ribbons, and I think Boss likes it. Boss, do you approve? I think so. No matter what you do, make sure when you have fun with your kitty cat, you're both getting that wonderful quality time that can make your life pretty wonderful indeed. I think pets are the most amazing things, and they can help you have a long, happy life. Enjoy your pets, enjoy everything in life, and have a great time with your pets with fun toys like these.
Catnip indeed. Thanks a lot, Maura. And next week, Maura and pet fashion designer Lisa Ballou serve up a furry fashion show just for you. And of course, they add in more than a little teacup tutu charm. Beyond those tutus, she now makes a male line because of Cronkite. She does his shirts and ties. Quite the dapper dude, huh, little guy? If you have any comments, questions, or ideas for the show, just let me know by writing to Miss Jocie at me.com. That's MISSJOCIE at me.com. And of course, I've got to thank all the friends who have helped make this show possible. From Buddy Coronado behind the camera to Luke Crossland and Equusearch Park, we thank them. James Bias and the SPCA of Texas. Of course, they are our presenting sponsor. We also want to thank Jack Knox and Cafe Pacific, and Arthur Benjamin and American Dog Rescue. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my dear friend, Jan Reese-Jones. Thank you all. And Cronkite and I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Tell a friend and join us again next Saturday at noon right here on Channel 8. And remember our motto, think positive. Good show, bud.
I just don't understand people who don't love animals. And I definitely don't understand people who don't love dogs.
Right.
I don't understand those people.
Pawsitive Entertainment has been brought to you in part by SPCA of Texas, the Crossland Group, and American Dog Rescue. Special thanks to Equusearch Park, Dish, and Cafe Pacific. Jocelyn's wardrobe provided by Tootsie's. Hair by Casey at De Novo Salon. Cronkite's neckwear by teacuptutucharm.com.